There's a man that I think we all know from Gaza who we will all agree is like a rahmah, a mercy to the worlds. Like you see how he interacts with the difficulties that he went through in life, and you see how he interacts with the difficulties that other people have gone through in life. His name is Khalid Nabhan. If we can pull up his Instagram, and before we start it, you all know Ar-Ruh Ar-Ruh. And I wonder, Khalid Nabhan, maybe someone can check this out there on the internet that's listening. I wonder if he's related somehow to Sheikh Yusuf Nabhani, rahmatullahi alayh. Khalid Nabhan, the Nabhan family. Maybe he's connected to Sheikh Yusuf Nabhani, rahmatullahi alayh, the great Qadi, the great lover of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, maybe. And so Khalid here, he goes and he visits the resting place of his father. And so I just want to play this clip, and the initial part is going to be in Arabic, but then you're going to see the English subtitling coming up. If we can play it, Sajjad.
هذا هو قبر أبي. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يرحمه رحمة واسعة، وأشهد الله أن أبي كان يقوم من الليل ويصلي ما شاء الله له أن يصلي، وادعو لنا جميعا للأبناء والبنات وللذرية.
Well, I want us to take a look at the son and take a look at the father. Take a look at the father and take a look at his son. That's Khalid Nabhan, Ruh Ar-Ruh, the one who remembered his grandchildren, returned to Allah as martyrs, and he held those children, and he just said about his granddaughter, she was a Ruh Ar-Ruh, soul of my soul. And he went around, and he still goes around, taking care of all these Ghazan children that have been maimed in Gaza because of this onslaught. He's going around and he's spreading Muhammadan sallallahu alayhi wasallam mercy everywhere he goes. And so you have to wonder, like, who is this man? I always wondered, like, what made him so special? And then I just came across this video. Look at his father. You tell me that his father doesn't have an angelic presence to him? Look at the beauty of Iman in his father, rahmatullahi alayhi's face, in that photo there. And then look what he says. He comes here to visit his dad. And he talks about the impact that his father had upon him. What's the first thing that he says? My dad used to give me candy. My dad used to just buy me a bunch of gifts. What does he remember about his dad? Is that his dad used to get up for Qiyamul Layl, for the night prayer. And what would his dad do every night? He would make dua for the Muslim community. That's the impact that walking the walk has on our kids. Khalid, may Allah preserve him, his dad, his father, rahmatullahi alayh, turning in that beautiful moral character relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal every day resulted in the beauty of a son like Khalid. That's what we should want. That's why we need to bring the spiritual reality of that moral character with Allah into our homes. Our kids will act based on what they see you and I doing. If we're just watching NFL all day long, and we're watching the NHL, and then it's about soccer, and then it's about baseball, and then it's about the UFC, and then it's about the ABC, then that's what our kids are going to grow up knowing. And their kids are going to grow up being replicas of that which you and I stuffed them with. It's Thanksgiving. You stuff a turkey, and what you stuff your turkey with, you're going to consume. And what we stuff these little turkeys with, our children with, is what they're going to end up being like. And Khalid here, his dad, he stuffed him. But he stuffed him with the love of Allah and his messenger, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Not just by telling him, but by actually being and doing. And so you and I, and I'm talking to myself, we need to be and do. We need to do what Khalid's father, rahmatullahi alayhi, was doing in his home. We need to have an environment in which our kids see us with our hands raised to Allah Azza wa Jal, crying, making dua, praying, actively reading Quran. Like if we finish our prayer and then we all rush to get up, well, what do we expect our kids are going to do when they grow up? And what are they going to teach their children when they grow up? They're going to teach them the acts that you and I concentrate on. But if they see you and I in dua, in salah, tears coming down. They're going to remember those things. And that's going to have a major impact on the trajectory of our children. I'll tell you, even about my father, rahmatullahi alayhi. I remember one time I came down to the kitchen in the middle of the night and we had a basement and I heard like a voice, the basement reciting Quran. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. And it was my father, rahmatullahi alayhi, hiding in the dark in the basement. He just forgot to close the door, praying to Allah Azza wa Jal. And that had such an impact on me. Like, what's dad doing? And my father, rahmatullahi alayhi, was constantly in dua, like, especially all throughout his life. But the last few years of his life, especially, was constantly in dua. And he used to chastise me, Sajjad. I remember sometimes I'd finish my salah and I'd finish my dua. And then he looked at me, he says, "You call that dua to Allah?" I said, "Ma'tasm, that's your dua to Allah?" He says, "My son, you're calling Allah. You're calling Allah. Take your time with Allah." And my father left that imprint on me. And he was a generous man. My father, this is even when I was in college. And I would, I used to go into my parents' bathroom to shower. I don't know. I just liked, I like to go there to shower. And I would pass through and my dad would be sleeping. And he was a light sleeper and he'd hear me. And he's like, "Mahtasam, Baba, where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, Baba, I'm going to school." He goes, okay. He's half asleep. He's like, "Open the closet. My pair of pants are hung there. Put your hand in my pocket and take whatever money you need. Take whatever you need." I'm like, "Baba, I'm okay. I don't need anything." "Ya ibni." He would say, "Ya ibni, go take." He would do this every single day. And so my dad was teaching me generosity. My dad was teaching me to give. And those are the characteristics that we want to teach our children because we want them to beautify the world with those characteristics. Khalid's father, look at him. He's a man of Allah. And so we want to be men and women of Allah. And so if we're men and women of Allah in our homes, then our children at least are going to be exposed to that beautiful, beautiful reality. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspire our hearts to have beautiful moral character with Him subhanahu and with all of creation.